Hey guys, it's Ben, and if you've been watching the news recently, you may have seen that an American poll worker was interrogated at her job by Immigration Customs Enforcement over an Instagram post, bro. We no longer have free speech in America. Let's get right into it. We interviewed her. I'm Ben with Z-Span, and you're watching Z-Span Network.
We'd kind of like to, I guess, introduce what went wrong and how terrible it is for younger audiences. And so, can you just walk us through what happened on Tuesday from your perspective for anybody that's not familiar with the story?
So on Tuesday, I got a phone call that I missed. It was from a New Jersey phone number. I had no clue what it was. Then I checked the voicemail. I was reading the transcript, and it said there were a special agent with Homeland Security, and it was about an Instagram post that I had up in January, doxing an ICE agent. Um, I was like, oh gosh, what happened in January? So, after they left, I went through everything. But before then, I called them up. They were at my old address. Um, so I told them to go meet me where I was working, which was at the poll site. So they came down there. They wanted me to go outside. I told them I couldn't. I was working, and I invited them in because, I mean, I was working. Also, I was scared to go out there. I didn't want to be a statistic.
Yeah.
Uh, so they came in. They were looking for me. They gave me the piece of paper, um, and were had a whole file on me too. Print out with like all my with an address, phone number, my photo from the DMV, eye color, hair color, everything. Um, that was startling enough. Then they had like screenshots from my Instagram. They went really fast past the post that was in question. All I got to see was the photo. So that's how I knew that the photo was from that Instagram post. I don't delete anything on social media, like
Yeah.
at all. I'm a content creator. Like
Yeah, it
if
doesn't.
anything gets clicks and views, I'm not going to go take away from the engagement. Um,
So, how
I
did you find this guy? How were you able to even, was it public information? Sometimes there are doxes that
Yeah.
come out and then people
Were
just,
you the first person to release that information?
No, it came from the Minnesota Tribune. That was the fucked up
so you
part.
shared an article.
I shared an article, right? Like that the name of the shooter was Jonathan Ross, and today's a good day for him to be indicted.
What? Wait, so
And
the
that was all
information
it
was already
took?
public.
Right. At this point, I should make a merch line that says the it's a great day for Jonathan Ross to be indicted. That would be a
Honestly,
great.
yeah, no, for sure. Not only was the sentiment right, but it's like, have any like civil rights attorneys reached out to you, or has anybody talked about how this is a little bit of an overreach? Because I don't see how you can be arrested for retweeting an article.
I can
Yeah.
say on the record that some people have reached out. There's other things I can't say on the record currently because if I speak too quick, that would make the federal government move even faster.
Naturally.
But it would be great to have something done to protect the First Amendment.
So what were you told was going on? Like what were you told by the agents? Were they ICE agents or FBI? And like what were they
They
telling
said
you?
it came from Homeland Security. The letter said Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Department of Homeland Security, Office of OER. So that's like their internal affairs department to investigate their own agents, not to investigate civilians.
And they're using that against civilians?
They're using that against civilians now. And I wasn't the only person that happened to that day. I'm just the loudest.
That's absolutely crazy to hear. And were there any other like was it that post in specific that they like warned you about? Or like was it like were they trying to
That
like paint like some
that
sort of
had to be
pattern or
that
something?
post. They said a post in January about Jonathan Ross. I think that was the only post I had in January about Jonathan Ross. There's no other post with any address, phone number, nothing that they're claiming.
So you
And do you
basically
believe
got, yeah, almost like detained for retweeting an article that was already public. How did these officers carry themselves? Were they treating you like a hardened criminal? Were they respectful?
They
Or were they trying to
were
intimidate you?
respectful and calm, probably because they were inside a polling center.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Were they legally allowed to come inside a polling center?
If they had a gun on them, no.
Did they have a gun?
I couldn't see any weapons. They had long coats. It's safe to say that they probably didn't.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because we have no confirmation of that as well too. So there's a chance that the federal government may have broken law and procedure. I mean, there have been people from Democratic and Republican commissions that have said that agents shouldn't have been
That
inside the
agent
polling
shouldn't.
site. And so,
And so,
how do you feel about them entering? And I know that it's probably where you would have wanted to have an interaction with them, but do you think that there was kind of any inappropriateness between that barrier?
Most likely there is. They should not be in a polling center. I was very grateful that there were no voters inside at that moment. Um, but I also knew that I was safer inside than going outside.
yeah, and do you believe this attack was like politically motivated?
Most likely, going after anyone who speaks up against the administration, it seems to be the norm that people on social media, influencers, or just people who post as a hobby are talking about reports of the FBI coming to see them over what they put. I think that I'm the first to at least speak up about Homeland Security coming to them about something that they put on social media. I wasn't the only person that day because someone sent me a screenshot of the same two agents outside their door from their Ring camera.
Wow. And so Jonathan Ross, I think he only received about 3 days of paid leave or unpaid leave for killing a U.S. citizen. And so how many days has this been an ordeal for you, and how stressful has it been interacting with the federal government so far?
So I've only had to interact with them that day. I think that if this didn't go public and blow up the way that it did nationally, that I would have probably heard from them again sooner. Um, I did find out that they sent an email statement to someone from the Associated Press, stating that I did indeed dox Jonathan Ross. They did say that I gave his address out. I did not.
So they're openly lying just completely to the
Openly
public?
lying completely.
So did the federal government say that there'd be anything else? Did they say they were going to call back, or there was going to be an indictment or charges, or did they just go and spook you?
So the letter says that if I didn't take down the post, that I would face state or federal prosecution. And I'm standing on business.
And you kept it up?
You're
I
keeping it
stuck.
up?
I'm
That's
keeping
hard.
it up.
That's hard. That's actually kind of sick.
I
I'm not gonna
respect
lie.
that. I
Do you stand
respect that.
10 toes to the ground on everything you said?
Mhm.
That's goaded. I mean, that's the best way that you can respond to when the government's trying to suppress your speech. And so, have you received any kind of like harassment outside of the federal government, just random right-wing people about
Random
this kind of
people in
thing?
the comments section and everything like that, typical far right fascist pigs.
Chuds.
Yeah.
Yeah, chance. So, I guess you obviously reject the fact that it was doxing. I guess have you seen, I guess you have already briefly discussed it. Have you seen a bigger pattern of people being arrested for their social media history? And do you feel like that's kind of ironic coming from the administration that was all quote unquote like free speech forever ago?
Literally. So if Donald Trump could post what he wants on True Social, and I just post one little post like that and they're coming after me. It's free speech for them. It's not free speech for us.
I also heard that you refused to sign their indictment or whatever they were trying to hand
Absolutely.
you.
I refuse to sign that paper. They also didn't sign it, so I'm not going to sign something, first of all, that they didn't sign. Secondly, I know better and I know my rights, and I wouldn't sign anything without a lawyer present. And even a lawyer on national TV today said I was very smart for not signing that.
I mean, well, you're a tough cookie. I mean, I don't know if I would be able to do that kind of thing or be able to stand on business in front of the feds like that. And so, with that and with your experience at the polls, Donald Trump has talked a lot about sending ICE workers to the polls to oversee the elections. Do you think there's going to be a noticeable effect on intimidating voters?
Absolutely. That's the one thing I'm worried about in November is ICE making a large presence at the voting polls. Especially since this is the midterms and this is our time to flip.
Awesome. And you started a GoFundMe, so I just want to give you the space to be able to shout that out as well too and direct people to that as well.
So my GoFundMe is linked in my bio and all my social medias. It's on my Instagram, Turn to Page Official. It's on my Facebook, Page Taylor. I have it linked on my TikTok. Um, and I think I also have it linked on Threads, if I'm not mistaken.
And we'll make sure we have a link to it or some kind of like photo
Yeah,
post.
we'll
Yeah,
put
we'll
it up
point
right
it up in
there.
post so they can put it there.
Because if when this goes
Editor,
to
right there.
court, it's going to be a lengthy battle, and I'm doing this to not just protect my First Amendment rights of free speech, but everyone's.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, this is going to set precedent that shows that the United States government can't just intimidate people for retweets, right? Essentially. So, with that, what are your thoughts kind of on the political response to this as well, too? Has anybody reached out to you? Have there been local politicians or even state people that have asked you about this or tried to offer support?
Absolutely. So I am in talks with county legislators. There's one that oversees the ICE facility in my area. Um, and it's supposed to be an office building, and she knows for a fact that they're detaining people there.
Wow.
So she's in hopes of getting it shut down because it's violating their certificate of business use.
Wow.
And do you believe, like, were you actively counting polls at the time that the ICE agents came?
No, not at that moment. There were no voters in there at that present second. So like
And
there's 20 minutes.
have other poll workers been arrested for like in the past, like during this administration?
Not that I was aware of, but I'm hearing some reports of poll workers having their experience with ICE for different reasons.
And just to clarify, you are a U.S. citizen, right? You were you born
Yes, I
here?
was born and raised in New York State, lived all over the country, but I was born here.
And ICE is still harassing you. That just does not make any
Yeah.
sense to me.
Now ICE is being used
Immigration customs
for
enforcement.
citizens. And I called that back in January that they're going to be used on us.
Yeah.
Do you think they're using ICE as kind of like a politically motivated, like kind of like FBI force type of thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And one thing that's interesting about that as well is there's been this narrative, or well, not narrative, but people all everywhere are basically reporting that ICE is kind of a little ragtag, if not amateurish. And so there was a
I
report
mean,
that
did you
said that
not
you,
see with the form? That form
yeah,
looked like they printed out their house. Page one of recipient.
wow. So you thought it was a prank at first as well too, because you didn't believe it.
Literally. But then my county commissioner confirmed that they were real because he contacted his connected ICE.
Wow. It's crazy you had to call somebody to make sure they were the real cops, is how amateurish it
Right.
was. Wow.
And did they like, I guess you've already talked about this a little bit, but what was the like sole, like what was the real, like obviously you weren't charged with anything, but like what were they alleging that you were doing? Like were they alleging you were organized? Like what were they
They were alleging that
trying
I
to,
doxed Jonathan Ross and I was putting an agent in jeopardy for his personal safety or inciting violence against him.
that is just insane because if they could use that against you, they could use that against pretty much anybody that speaks out against them in any capacity.
Right.
So we haven't gone that much about your background. Have you been involved in politics for a while? Like how did you end up like working at the polls?
So I've started working at the polls in about 2023 or 4, but I've been very politically active for a very long time. So I actually took part in Occupy Syracuse, camping outside,
Wow.
protesting with the one percenters. I've done marches, I've done Free Palestine, I've done it all. So I'm more politically active than not. Sometimes I'm just more quiet on social media about it, but after this, I think I need to be loud and turn that volume up until they
100%.
can hear me all the way in the back.
100%. And so, do you want to disprove any misinformation about poll workers as well, too? Because I feel like Republicans might hear this and go, "Oh, if they're liberal, they're shredding all the Republican ballots at work."
We do not shred any ballots on the clock. In fact, we are bipartisan at the poll site. So there's Democratic and Republican workers there to keep the polls neutral. On the clock, I am very politically neutral. I do not talk politics. I do not talk about my beliefs. My goal is to protect voter integrity and make sure everything is done to a T and that nothing is fucked up.
Awesome. And so, Have you seen anything that Donald Trump has said literally ever one time happen ever at a polling place?
Never,
Okay.
never.
It
You
makes
know how many
sense.
fake checks there are? Like, if a paper ballot is messed up, there's still a flash drive. And if that flash drive doesn't work, there's a backup flash drive. And if that's still messed up, everything's already been transmitted already. So there's like there's backup after backup after backup of every ballot. A paper ballot doesn't even hold as much weight once it's scanned, anyways.
It makes sense.
That's
It
the
makes
thing.
sense.
Like,
Yeah.
so no one's messing up any ballots on the clock. We take very much pride in doing our job correctly and protecting voter integrity.
Yeah, as a poll worker, I guess in specific, Trump is always calling out mail-in voting, calling it mail-in fraud, all these garbage names, even though he mail-in voted in his own Florida election. How does the mail-in like voting process work? Just for someone uninitiated.
So mail-in votes, you can either drop them off and they'll get tallied at the end of the night, or they can get mailed, and we'll wait for all the mail-in votes to come in. I don't work with counting them, so that's actually out of my
Yeah.
scope, but I know that they make sure every single one gets counted. We always want to make sure anyone who can legally vote is able to vote.
Yeah, and do you see yourself becoming an activist after this point?
Um, I
I know you
think
already are an activist already. I'm talking about like a vocal, like, like the Greta Thunberg of your niche of being kind of like,
um most likely at this point, yeah. I think that if I didn't, it'd be a missed opportunity. And now I have a voice. People know the story. It's time to be very vocal and continue to raise awareness on what happened and what it means, not just for me, but for everyone.
Now, were you a content creator before this happened? And it
Yes, I tried doing like the whole TikTok shop shit. I was doing
Sure.
this, doing that.
usually.
Um, but now I need to like really niche down and just be very vocal and tap into my far left ways.
That makes sense, but do you think that if you
Yeah.
didn't have this kind of a platform, they would have attacked you it would relentlessly and it wouldn't have backed off so easily?
Um, I I think that I'm small fish with all the people they could have went after. There's content creators with millions of followers. Here I am with just over 100 something thousand on TikTok, 33 on K on Instagram, and they could have went after other creators. So I'm like mid-tier to the
Yeah, but do
radar.
you think that that audience almost protected you? Is that they didn't want you to document them? And if do you think if you had, do you think they would have responded the same if you had 10 followers versus 100,000?
I probably because if I had 100,000, it probably would have moved towards me still. Yeah.
Mm, fair, fair.
And I guess, do you see these attacks getting more frequent? And do you think there's anything that we could do as people to prevent these attacks by the Trump administration? Does not seem like they're following that many, rules of law at the current moment. Like, what can we do as just an average, like, individual person to help the situation?
Well, first, I think more people, if it happens to them, need to come forward. So there's more visibility on this. So more people are aware that it really is happening, that I'm not just a one-off incident. And then we need to stand up and lobby for our local politicians, state politicians, to lobby to protect our First Amendment rights. This is not just about them coming to the poll site. This is literally our First Amendment rights being infringed on, and our government seeing how much they can push until they get their way with violating our First Amendments.
And have you seen anything like the likes of this in any previous administration you've been around for?
No, no, like, so I remember as far back as Clinton. I'm 40, like I'm dating myself here, but um,
Okay.
with Clinton, Bush, I didn't see any censorship. I mean, the Patriot Act was one thing, but Um, between any presidency, during my lifetime, I've only seen this with Trump.
Wow. It's sad. It's really sad to see the weaponization of the federal government. And Republicans talk about this kind of thing all the time, but usually it's because they're actually doing a crime. And so, what was the actual post? Was it a quote tweet? Is that what this actually was that they were attacking you for?
It was an Instagram post with only like 7,000 views or something. Like it was tiny. Oh, great. The minute I pull up Instagram, it pulls up something I'm on, right?
And
I'm
is the post currently still up?
the post is currently up. If you scroll all the way down to January 7th. I was very vocal in July and February, June. I was very January and February. I was very vocal about ICE with Renee Good and Alex Preddy.
Do you think
Do
that
you
the
think it's
federal government has almost caused a little bit of a Streisand effect here, where by trying to suppress the information, they've made more people want to go look at it? Because where was your post at in terms of views before this happened compared to now?
So at that time it was 7,700 something. I don't know where it's at now.
so that
That's
post
bad.
right there to get you investigated by ICE at your place of work?
Yeah. And then they, had other screenshots of, the video with Jonathan Ross shooting him, then like
But
had
that's
been
the
convicted
news.
of like charges against Jonathan Ross, possibly first shot was fired.
Literally,
There's nothing with addresses at all.
it's from the news.
From the news.
Yeah.
Like it's basically took a photo. That is crazy. I mean, there's no explanation for why we use taxpayer dollars to even pay for the gas it took them to get to your house. And is your information even available? Like, did they put in a subpoena with Meta to get your address
They
and
had
IP?
they had to do something because it looked like they had like a printout of like my name, address, phone number, height, weight, eye color, hair color. They had a photo of me from the
It's just the
DMV.
fact that like two different people got paid a salary to do that is crazy.
They had information that was like not publicly available about you, like anywhere like deep on
So I do
any
a very
place.
good job of trying to scrub any information when it comes up. I always get the alert on Google if anything pops up, and I always do my due diligence to try to scrub it to the best of my ability. Um, I really don't want people to know where I live in general, exactly. Like
Makes
I don't
sense.
know my house,
Yeah,
my address, like especially with how vocal I
definitely.
am about our administration. I don't want more
Yeah,
of a target on my back, and now this is national news, so
It's a shame. It's
it
a shame.
happens.
Well, Paige, you're a like you're a beast. Like you stood 10 toes to the ground in front of the federal government and told them to eat shit. So that's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. You're kind of a hero for that, and I'm
I
really
should
happy.
write out the
Yeah, you're really
form and
strong.
send it to them.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. I mean, listen, you should double down. You should post the people who came to go harass you. Um, this has been fantastic. We can't thank you enough for being able to speak with us and put your story out there. It's important that we talk about the things that the federal government is doing to suppress anyone that's willing to show dissent at this moment.
Yeah. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Paige. And we're just wondering, I guess, if you have like one last thing to say to the Trump administration right now.
Other than fuck you, or like,
That
um,
works.
Yeah, fuck you could
Oh yeah,
be
no,
the
fuck you,
perfect
Trump. That's
answer.
awesome. No, it's
Sometimes that's all you
perfect.
need.
um, fuck Donald Trump, fuck ICE, fuck this administration, fuck this timeline. Um, I can't wait till he's out of office in 2028.
Hey, Sameskis.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Paige.
would you care to plug your socials right now? Just say your if just in the how people where people can find you at.
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Turn Dub Page Official, TURNDAPAIGE official. And I'll keep everyone updated on what's going on.
Awesome. Thank you, Paige. Have a
Okay,
great rest of your
thank you
day.
so much for this. I
Thank you,
really
Paige.
appreciate it.